You know, if I look like death warmed over, it is because I am in fact deceased. I'm very tired. I had like morning class and stuff and didn't sleep particularly well. And I was like, you know what? I should go to a thrift store because that's actually I got off because I was going to go do assignment in a coffee shop. And then I was like, thrift store. Haven't been there in a while. So I went, I got 8 books, but I only spent $19. I normally try to like limit myself on 3 and like try to spend less than $10 because it's thrift stores, but I haven't been to a thrift store since December. So I think I'm rewarding myself. You know, this is good. All the justifications to spend money, but some of these are like super good finds and I did not like pick up several finds. I'm going to go through, I'm going to share the books that I bought, and then I'm also going to put some footage of the books that I didn't pick up and like my adventures in the bookstore, which I always love sharing with you guys and I hope you enjoy. So the first book is probably the book that I didn't need to get the most, and it's because I don't actually know anything about it. In the Glass House by Nino Ricci. I think I may have heard of him. I actually don't know the gender of the author, but I was immediately hit by it because of the fact that I could tell that it was a classic book by this, and it was published in the I think 1990s, but it's set earlier, and it's about an Italian immigrant to Canada, and I really, really love looking at Canadian literature, especially Canadian literature that isn't as well known. Actually, several of these are Canadian literature things, so that's, I guess, a theme in here is a bunch of Canadian authors that I'm like, these are often hard to find or like very expensive. I'm really interested in immigrant stories and like stories of people coming and making Canada their own, and also especially when we look at the history of Canadian literature that isn't just the last like 5 to 10 years. So I doubted I would be able to find it elsewhere, and I don't know if it has good reviews and stuff, but I wanted to take a chance on it. Also, those are my groceries in the back seat. I did go grocery shopping after this so that I could also eat food while reading the books. I make good life decisions, guys. And this book is one of the ones that I probably didn't need to get because I know that my library has it and I've had it deciding to read it for a very long time and I haven't. But this is called Zed, and it's a novel of Zelda Fitzgerald. But I've heard that it's very, very well researched, it's very well done, and that like it's a very faithful thing. I really like F. Scott Fitzgerald. That's a hard thing to say because I know that he wasn't particularly a good man, but I do really, really like his writing. He is most notably known for The Great Gatsby. I've also read The Curious Case of Benjamin Button and some of his other short stories, and they're really well done. I want to read more about her. I've been fascinated about their relationship for a very long time. I am always a little nervous about novelizations of people's real life, but I wanted to give this a chance, and it was cheap, and I don't know, I haven't ever seen it, and I've like been like wanting to read this book for 4 years, so I think this is a book that even if I hate it, I would like to own it. This is actually such a Canadian haul, and this is Crow Lake by Mary Lusson. I read A Town Called Solace earlier in the year, or last year I guess, part of the Booker Prize that was Canadian, and it made me so happy. I felt so seen, and I just really, really loved the way that she wrote, and I wasn't sure if I was going to pick this up, and then I like read the first like page or so, and I was like, I really, really like her writing, I really like her story, and it's a fairly good copy of it, so I was like, you know what, we're gonna pick it up. This one absolutely shocked me, and my goodness, this is the Essex country, and this is a full collected thing. I've been meaning to read this for a really long time. Jeff Lemire is probably one of the best known Canadian authors in the comic book things. I can't even hold this one hand. Try to be like, oh, like beautiful. This collection, I'll just like hold it in front of my face. And it was $4, guys. It was $4 for this entire collection. Like one collected of like 5 of the issues, and this is probably like 100 issues, is normally like $10 to $20. And I was like, there's no way I cannot buy this for $4. I haven't read it yet, but I've like heard about it, and it's set based, I think that's like fantasy kind of aspects or like horror aspects as well, but it's kind of based on Southern Ontario, which is where I live, and I was like, yes, I have to. Yeah, it's Canada Reads collection of 2011. I've read several other stories by him, and I do know that I like Jeff Lemire as an author, even though I haven't read this collection. If I'm being honest, I didn't have to get all of these. But you know, I also really wanted this, and it's a paperback version of it. This is Tiny Beautiful Things by Cheryl Strayed. I very, very much like the bookcast. The bookcast, that's actually a good word for it. The podcast Books Unbound. I'm a faithful listener every Sunday morning, and this is one of Ariel Bassett's like favorite books. She talks about it a lot of the time, and Raylene read it and really liked it, and it's just like life advice where people like, she had like kind of a Dear Abby kind of esque things. I always feel weird when there's people behind me. She does like this advice where people kind of write in like a Dear Abby things, and then she writes it, but she also kind of talks about her own experiences and like things. I really, really love memoirs. I've always been really fascinated by like Dear Abby columns and stuff like that. That's always been like a fascination of mine, and there's actually real life people who wrote this, and then she collected them in a book, so she kind of used her newspaper in there. This one is totally a library builder. I know that I'm not planning on reading it anytime soon, but I've never seen like a cheap version of it before, and I know that I want to read it and have it, and this is Herodotus the Histories, and I've read a fair bit of his. I'm dropping the book. I took theology and he writes some things about theology in early like Greco-Roman times and stuff like that. So I've studied some of his work, but never obviously in completion. And this is a hefty boy that I probably will not read, you know, anytime soon in completion, especially. But I am very interested in reading this eventually, and I'm very happy to have it in my collection. So this was one where I was like, yes, definitely going to be picking this up. And now we only have 2 more books left. I actually know very little about this one, but this is The Orenda by Joseph Boyden. He is an Indigenous author in Canada. This is a collection, I think all 3 of them, or it might just be a long first book, I can't tell. But obviously it won a lot of awards because we have Canada Reads, the Giller Prize, the Canadian Council of Arts, and Governor General Awards. So it won all of the 3 major literary awards in Canada. I've heard a really good things and I've been planning to read it for a while. It's kind of been on my long list of like books I didn't have like super good access to, but like knew I eventually wanted to read. So when I saw this in such good edition, such a beautiful copy, I was like, I don't care that I don't need it right now. I do want this version. So that was my decision. And I'm really excited. It's one of those books that just has like, you know, all the praise on the back, but doesn't actually tell us what it is. Actually, interesting, the first line of praise is an epic worthy of Herodotus or Semiquem. I think that this is fiction though, like it's nonfiction and fiction weaved together. The Orenda opens with the kidnapping of Snowfalls, a spirited Iroquois girl with a special gift. Her captor, Bird, is an elder and one of Huron nation's greatest warriors and statesmen. Although it's been years since the murder of his family members, they've never been far from his mind. In Snowfalls, Bird recognizes the ghost of his lost daughter. He sees that of the girl possesses powerful magic, something useful to him and his people on the troubled road ahead. I'm excited to read this eventually. This is definitely like a long list TBR. And then last, and certainly not least, is Johanna Trollope marrying the mistress, which sounds like a scandalous book if you don't know who it is and the time frame, because this is the mother of Anthony Trollope. You know, I've been reading some of his books and I like found out that his mother was an author and I was like, that's so cool. I would love to read one of her books. And of course, like, she's a lady novelist that isn't super well known from the Victorian era. It's not like a lot of her books are hanging around. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, yes, 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 I will be reading this. So it has a poppy on it and stuff like that. And yeah, I actually don't know what it is about, but I'm excited to read this and to have some more like lesser known Victorian books on my TBRs. So let me know if you enjoyed this. I will put some clips in the back. I had some hard decisions on books that I wanted to pick up and just was like, no, I can't justify it. So I hope that you have a fantastic day. Tell me which book you picked up latest, or a book that you really wanted to pick up and didn't, or whatever adventure you would like. Library books are also really cool and my favorites. So have a great day, and I will see you next time.